that sometimes the terms coins and digital tokens are, there's some confusion with those. Can you tell me a little bit about the differences?
Yeah. So it's
Like,
some
yeah, so.
yes, I can. So I mean it's somewhat of a marketing thing, right? How do you want to market, right?
Okay.
How do you want to market how do you want to market when you create a cryptocurrency? How do you want to market it? And cryptocurrency sort of gives the sense that this is a currency, right? Or maybe that this is something that one would invest in, right? And as opposed to something that's more like a Chuck E. Cheese token, where it's a thing that is useful in a particular context, right? So people use the term token, like, so you'll hear the term token sale used instead of initial coin offering, right? And people use that term because it's sort of signifying, okay, this is a token that is used for a purpose that is not necessarily being marketed. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but not necessarily being marketed as an investment tool.
Sure. So maybe for like a security or a commodity as opposed to an actual like fiat currency.
So I think the way to sort of to sort of talk about that distinction, it probably is important to like cover the big picture thing that's going on with whether these things are securities. So a security, is sort of an investment vehicle, right? And this is something that is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, among other sort of government agencies, at least in the US, right? And when people created their own cryptocurrencies and would sort of market it as, this is my company, I've created this coin with my company's name on it, you should buy this, as people sometimes would market it as an investment in my company, even though you're not actually buying equity in my company. You're just buying a coin with my name on it and betting that it's going to go up in value as my company gets more successful.
So it wasn't stock.
It's not stock. Absolutely not. It is these sort of so-called ICOs, initial coin offerings, are, we've created this coin, it has our name on it or some other name on it.
I see. Okay.
We're selling it to the public. And or selling it to private investors or whatever. We're selling it to someone as an initial coin offering, like an initial public offering for securities, right? And people sometimes there's a huge question as to how you do that in a way, or whether you can do that in a way where it is not actually a security. And if it is a security, right, there are all sorts of regulations that apply. You need to register it as a security with the SEC. There's state regulations. You need to, there are public disclosure requirements about what's going on at your company, right? And so a lot of, for obvious reasons, to avoid that regulation, many ICOs did not. I mean, up until recently, very few of them ever were like, yes, we are a security and we're going to jump through the hoops necessary, right? They're just like, no, we're just making this thing and it's not a security. And the SEC often disagreed and has made itself clear so remember when we talked about the distributed autonomous organization earlier, there was a question as to whether that was an unregistered security, whether creating the distributed autonomous organization and having a bunch of people invest their money in it with the idea that money would, that was an investment and they would ultimately get more money back, whether that was a security. And the SEC said, yes, that was a security, and that should have been registered and didn't sort of retroactively, no one went to jail, right? But it was they made it very clear, like, this is how that analysis goes.
Oh gosh. So now they're very clear on, or I guess I should say a little more clear.
Yeah. So I think that's a big question in this space, is a lot of people who are creating tokens or coins, who are creating these new cryptocurrencies, have a question as to whether they are a security or not a security. This is a big part of the legal landscape right now, especially those who really see themselves as Chuck E. Cheese tokens, right? They're saying, no. What we've created is not something that we want people to invest in because they think it's going to go up in value, but rather just a thing that you can use on our platform. Just like when you go
like a coupon or a frequent flyer miles or something like that.
Exactly. Like you can use this cryptocurrency or token or coin on our platform. And it's just like you would go to Chuck E. Cheese and exchange your money for Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
Like the attention token we were talking about for the Brave browser. Like I don't think anyone would think that they're going to get any value from that. It's just going to be distributed how they think it's going to, on the websites that they go to.
Well, and so that's a question, right? The question is if you're using it as a Chuck E. Cheese token, but you then market it to people as like, this is going to be such an amazing platform and the platform's going to do so well that people are going to ultimately be paying more US dollars for these tokens, then
it gets tricky.
Then you're maybe marketing it as a security, and that is potentially dangerous. So you want to be really careful, right, about your marketing. And and the question, and there still is a question, right, as to whether that is a security in the first place, regardless of how you're marketing it. And there's sort of a test for that, but the Supreme Court has made it very clear that the test for what is and is not a security is facts, circumstances, and economic realities test, meaning that like ultimately it's not about checking a box, right? It's really about the economic realities of what's going on.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching the episode. If you're interested in contributing to the conversation and supporting the show, there's 2 easy things you can do. 1, click subscribe, and 2, visit our Patreon page where you get exclusive access to the Exploring Minds community.